Well, hello gainers, I'm Ralphie and welcome to my channel called Fitter Philosophy, a practical experience-based Stoic channel. And my topic of conversation today is mental health. And I want to give you a perspective on mental health which you don't hear so much about. And I want to put it into context, and I want you to have a think about it and how it affects you. Not so long ago, even 10, 15 years, mental health was not considered a primary objective in terms of looking after our health. I would also suggest that up until about 10 years ago, eccentricity was more singular and individual and not sort of mass-produced. And you see it in the typical English eccentricity, which manifests itself partly, particularly in the upper classes, as inbreeding, but generally across society as something eccentric, unusual, different, an obsessive behaviour pattern, particular deep dive interests in things like trains, public transport, old buildings, preserving steam engines. That's classic British eccentricity. And more often than not, it's charming, engaging, and usually quite entertaining. And we often learn from these eccentric people when we connect with them. However, eccentricity has taken on a darker side, and it's been labelled as mental health. One of the reasons is to generate an industry of volunteers, charities, helpers, professionals, and pharmaceutical drugs which will control and monitor and assist in people in dealing with mental health issues. But something which really isn't discussed as part of the mental health narrative. And let me just say at this point, there are definitely people who suffer mental health issues, whether it be psychopathy, schizophrenia, and other definable traditional mental health debilitating diseases. And I'd say the word diseases deliberately. But I think for the majority of people, there's a combination of two factors which is primarily responsible for the self-awareness or even the self-diagnosis of mental health issues. And one is malnutrition. And it's not what you expect to hear. But when you actually look at the modern food supply, it really isn't enough of a conversation of how nutritionally imbalanced and nutritionally deplete of minerals, of trace elements, of vitamins the modern industrialized food supply is. Because the more a food is processed away from its natural form, the more deplete it comes, and also the more nutritionally deplete it becomes, and importantly, the more you start to introduce synthetic oil-derived chemicals, preservatives, flavour enhancers, synthesized vitamins, in order to make the food acceptable and palatable, is a foodstuff, which really is not. It's an entertainment consumption device. Are you still with me? I'll carry on. I know you are. The other is the aspect of the modern life in which there is an absence of silence. And silence is a hugely important contributor to mental health and well-being. It is the lack of white noise, interference and distraction that the self has from the outside world. This is what silence does. You will find with the wise ones, the village elders, the philosophers, that at times the most important conversations they ever have are with themselves in the presence of silence, and silence initiates and stabilizes and helps to present to oneself that conversation, which is so important to redefine, recalibrate, and re-understand our place in the universe as individuals, as an essential spark of the great reality, the great life force. This is not so easy now with the breeding, grooming, conditioning, intrusiveness, bullying, harassment of white noise in all its forms. Certainly legacy media and the complete misinformation designed to specifically weaken us. That's absolute. But in social media, you see it as well, because it takes experience and practice to sift out the best from the rest. And often we're connecting with the rest, the white noise of flannel, porn, for example, fake advice, neurotic and narcotic personalities, and the generated narratives of other people trying to influence us just to grab our attention, nothing else, so they can make money. That's social media. And it's one of the acquired skills in life is to sift out, as I mentioned earlier, the best from the rest. Because the more we connect with the best, the better we are. So we have this duopoly here affecting our mental health. The conditioning of society, education, legacy media, white noise, just encouraging us to shut up, put up, and keep consuming and getting further into debt. It stresses us out, and that drives us towards the pharmaceutical products to basically de-stress us, or in other words, remove the symptoms without addressing the problems. And this is where we have to generate our inner strength to tackle these problems, address these problems, solve these problems for ourselves. And to help us, we need to eat nutritionally. And if it means supplementing with natural good quality supplements, natural good quality multivitamins, for example, particularly if you're on a vegan diet and you don't get the full range of vitamins that you require for good health, then so be it. We have to take our responsibility for our own engineering of ourselves. As soon as we abdicate this to others, no matter how well-intentioned they are, gainers, no matter how good their sentiments towards us, we are releasing control of our circumstances. And while it's good to get help, ultimately it's our responsibility.